wish I would have known 31 years ago that I could purchase a house and it cost me less than $1,000 out of pocket.
Less than $1,000 out of pocket? Where is this guy buying a home, man? That's crazy.
That's why I do these videos, to help people. I'm a big believer in you learn it, you master it, and you teach it.
That's true. Education and empowerment.
Through USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture, they guarantee these loans in suburban rural areas. Now, you can't be in the major metropolitan areas, and you can't make an excessive amount of income, typically between 1 and 4 in your household. You're a single person or you're married with 2 children. It's around $112,000.
So this comes up all the time for first-time home buyers. USDA specifically, where the property is located has to be a rural location, typically in like farmland area, and there is income limitations. FHA doesn't have income limitations, but for USDA loans, it does. A lot of first-time home buyers reach out to me looking for first-time home buyer programs. Most of these programs depend on how much money you make. If you're making too much money, it's not necessarily that you aren't considered a first-time home buyer. You just may not get the benefits that other first-time home buyers are eligible for.
If you're 5 or more in your household, you're limited to around $150,000. However, it's going to vary. You can go to USDA.gov, you can poke around there, and it's going to show you where these homes are, the income limit.
So one of the biggest things when you're buying your home, whether you're a seasoned home buyer or a first-time home buyer, make sure you do your research. Someone like myself, a professional, someone on your team will educate you, but like this person says, go to USDA.gov, learn about the product, make sure it fits you, make sure it's eligible in your area, because you're not going to be able to use a Department of Agriculture loan if you're trying to buy in Manhattan.
Do not buy a house. Almost ever do not buy a house if you're actually trying to make money.
The first thing I'll tell you is this guy has too short of shorts on for this video.
I'm in the midst of buying my first house that will be my primary residence in almost 20 years. And that's because despite what your realtor or your mortgage broker or other people that make a commission off of you buying houses.
But this is the thing, where he says that people make commission off of you or telling you to buy, that's like saying your doctor is giving you health advice at a cost as well. Everyone gets paid as a professional to help you.
If you don't know how much interest is going toward your home purchase, ChatGPT it.
By the way, you can use ChatGPT to figure out your monthly payment, but my website gives you a bunch of calculators outside of just figuring out your monthly payment, including a rent versus own calculator to see if it makes sense based on what you're paying for rent and what your new mortgage payment will be.
Most people sell their homes within 7 years. That's the average amount of time someone holds a home.
He is right. The average where people hold homes and sell or move to a different location completely or go back to renting is between 7 and 10 years. That's a correct statistic. The thing that he did say, and I think there is something to be modified here, is that as you make your mortgage payments, the longer you pay, the more your mortgage payment goes towards principal. That's 100% correct as well, especially on a 30-year loan. But the thing is that you don't have a prepayment penalty. So what I tell my clients often is if you pay bi-weekly towards your mortgage payment, you're getting one full mortgage payment towards the principal balance of your loan. That's going to save you roughly 5 to 7 years in mortgage payments over that 30-year life of loan. So instead of just saying your payments really don't go towards a lot towards principal, find a solution to help you as the buyer and owner of real estate get ahead.
Here are 3 reasons I don't want to buy a home. As someone who has a goal of financial independence and wants to retire in her 40s, number 1 is location flexibility. With how volatile the job market is right now and how common layoffs are, I want to be able to pack up and move to a new job without having to worry about selling a home, not being in a home long enough to build equity. It also gives me more flexibility to downsize if I want. I'm currently thinking about downsizing from a 3-bedroom to a 2-bedroom, and I'm able to just do a transfer anytime within my lease.
As far as flexibility of moving, I agree with that, right? If you're moving, for sure. Her reason behind this really doesn't make sense, right? The amount of layoffs that someone experiences and stuff like that. I haven't experienced that in my professional life. Like, I've never been let go due to like a layoff. Maybe just my industry. I've left companies and gone to different companies for better opportunity, in my own opinion, but renting because you feel like your job is going to change, unless you're in that type of industry, being like a nomad isn't something that's desirable by people. Unless you want to travel the world, then it's a different story. It makes more sense to rent.
Number 2 is living in a better location for the price. When you buy a home, you're most likely living in the suburb, which is also farther away from where all of the things are. And I really care about living somewhere that is walkable and bikeable. My partner bikes to the grocery store pretty much every day. We walk to coffee shops. We walk to the farmer's market. We currently pay $2,800 in rent. And if we were to buy the same size home in the same area that we live in currently, that would put our mortgage at $6,000 a month. Renting honestly saves us so much money and lets us live in a location where we're actually happy to be.
Number 2, as far as the rent is concerned, the rent amount compared to owning a home, 100%. Like if you're in an area that rental amounts per month are lower than a mortgage payment and owning a home, may make more sense to rent. I'll give you an example. When I go on vacation, I could rent a house for a certain amount per month, but if I buy that house, it may cost me millions to buy it. So it would make more sense for me to say, I'm going to rent this house for a week and pay X amount of dollars, as opposed to me spending $3 million to buy this house at the beach and own it forever and go whenever I want. So it just depends on your specific scenario.
Number 3 is no surprise maintenance costs. When you buy a home, you should be saving 1 to 2% of the home price annually for maintenance costs.
Number 3 is no surprise maintenance costs. Anything that you own, if you don't assume that you're going to have to fix it or replace it at some point, you probably shouldn't own stuff. It's the same argument of financing a car and leasing a car. Everyone would be leasing a car if they were so worried about the car breaking. Depends on how you take care of it. Homes are very fragile. I'll definitely mention that. Keep in mind, I own a ton of them. The thing is that it costs a lot of money when you have to fix something, but it's also an asset to me. I have rental properties. I have my own house that I live in. I have my own freedom. When you're renting somewhere, you're limited in what you can do. You can't modify the space the way you need to. Now, granted, this is completely my opinion, and you're going to have your own and your own situation. So God willing, but this is what I believe is more valuable to me and my family, is owning something and calling it our own.
So how many people do you know who got rich flipping real estate?
Very few. Actually, probably none. I know people that have flipped and then went into buying and investing, and they use the flipping as like a little way to get into the game and raise some capital. That's okay. And I, from time to time, will buy a property I could flip to, but I don't consider that investing. That's trading.
It's exactly what I think about real estate. I never believed in flipping. Flipping is essentially trading, right? Almost like a day trading if you're into stocks, right? What you're doing is you're buying something and then quickly turning around and flipping it for a profit. And that profit could be substantial depending on if you've made improvements, if the market has increased during the time of ownership and stuff like that. But you also have to take other things into consideration when flipping a property. You have to take in short-term, long-term capital gains, whatever it costs you to get that property to the value to actually flip it and make money. Are you partnering with people, or do you have to split the profit? I always felt that holding properties was the way to go for me. It was just a little more stable and something that I could control more so than flipping. What if I hire a contractor to flip a home and they just don't finish it in time, and I've held the property too long and now I'm out money? I love this. I think owning real estate does create generational wealth. I love this guy. I love the video. I love the message. And I think if you want to become an investor, you have to look at both sides of this coin and say, do I want to get rich quick, but possibly invest later? Or do I just want to make some money and kind of go on my way and never really be a long-term landlord? But that's up to you. So here's the thing about all of these videos. They're not wrong. You can move every few years. You can rent forever. And yes, flipping houses can be risky, even if you are a professional. But what all of these videos miss is the part where you actually get ahead. It doesn't show you the after, because most people don't want to stay stuck. They want to build something. And real estate done right with the right team lets you do it on a regular job with regular income with no magic inheritance. When you buy smart, you don't just own a home. You start earning equity, you're gaining tax advantages, and you may get some rental income on the side. That's not just a lifestyle, that's wealth. That's what that's called. So no, buying a home isn't for everyone, and I'm sure you guys are going to blast me in the comments about it. But if you care about building long-term wealth for you and your family and want options, then don't dismiss it because of someone else's 7-year statistic. What works for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Now, before we go any further, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you really want something valuable to help you buy real estate, and you're even considering buying in the next year or two, I put together a free checklist that walks you through the smart way to buy real estate. These are just real steps that I've helped over 3,000 families throughout my career buy homes and build wealth. The world's going to keep telling you what not to do. I'm just here to show you what may work for you. I'll see you on the next one.